Happy Thanksgiving, y'all! Well, to the Americans, because I totally missed the Canadian Thanksgiving. My bad, but it's still fall, so to everyone else, happy fall. Today I made a simple cake for fall for all the beginners out there. I absolutely love seeing leaves change colors. This is one of my favorite times of the year. It's so beautiful outside. And yes, it's November and the leaves are still out there. They're just on the ground, but I refuse to let go until American Thanksgiving is over. I know Christmas is just around the corner, but I have one more weekend left for me to hold on to. I'm not letting go yet. There's no snow yet, so I think I'm okay. I started by making a pumpkin cake because I wanted to go a little festive with this one. I made 2 layers of pumpkin cake and 2 layers of chocolate. They aren't completely the same size, sue me. I cut off the tops of the cakes and then showered them in simple syrup. So I bought a whole bunch of dulce de leche caramel spread from Trader Joe's and I went to the States. I really hope I said that right. I'm really sorry if I didn't. I'm learning, guys, okay? But I bought this and a whole bunch of cookie butter, which I just couldn't pass up. And I just felt like caramel reminds me even more about fall. So I put this in the cake. I spread some on each layer and then added a layer of Swiss meringue buttercream on top between each layer. I alternated layers between pumpkin and chocolate. I then used my acrylic cake boards to assist me in making sure that my cake was straight up and down. For this cake, you definitely don't need to use the acrylic boards because it's supposed to be a rustic looking cake anyway. But I feel like it makes my cakes look a little bit more straight instead of slanted, so I like to use them. I start by making sure that my cake will fit within the acrylic boards, so I cut off the edges to make sure that it fits. I then put down a non-stick mat, then the acrylic board, then another non-stick mat, and then the cake board. So many things to remember, sorry. Once the cake size fits within the board, I gave this cake a crumb coat and put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. If you want to see a more detailed video on how to use these boards, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to make a video. I'll leave a link to where I got these boards in the description. I then cut a circle out of parchment paper the size of the acrylic board and stuck it straight to the board with a little bit of icing. Fill the top of the cake with a generous amount of icing and then put the board down, parchment paper side down, on top of the cake. I used 2 bench scrapers to make sure that my boards are lined up correctly before icing. You can also use a leveler here to make sure that your cake is leveled before starting to frost your cake. Fill in the sides with a generous amount of icing and cover it all the way around the edges. Use a tall bench scraper to scrape down the sides, pushing up against the top and the bottom board, wiping off the excess as you go. Fill in the holes with icing if you see any, and repeat as many times as you need to get a smooth surface. For this cake, I then took a small spatula and just made some dents into the cake in random order all the way around the cake to make it look a little bit more rustic. You can do this however you want, the point is for it not to be perfect. Once you're happy with it, put it in the fridge for another 30 minutes. Once your icing is hardened, I put a small offset spatula in between the board and the parchment paper and turned it all the way around until the board comes right off. If this is a little bit difficult, you can heat up your spatula with some hot water and then dry it off before putting it between the board and the parchment paper to make it a little bit easier. Turn until the board comes right off and then remove the parchment paper. Fill in the holes at the top with some extra Swiss meringue buttercream. Put the cake back in the fridge for 15 minutes. For the leaves, I used some multicolored fondant in all different fall leaves colors: brown, dark brown, red, orange, yellow, and green. I rolled them out into little rods and then rolled them all together, twisting and mixing them enough so that the colors still show through. I used a tiny maple leaf cutter because obviously I'm in Canada and it has to be a maple leaf. I pushed my little cutter in and then pushed the top part down, which makes a little pattern in the leaves. I did this with a few different tints of the same colors. It would have looked a little bit nicer if I made the leaves a little bit thinner. I then used some brown fondant to make the tree branches and stuck them to the cake with a little bit of piping gel. I used my Dresden tool, I have no idea why it's called that, to make the little dents in the branches to make it look a little bit more like bark. Then I stuck the leaves all over with piping gel on the tree and on the floor. And that's it, a quick and easy way for you to make a fall-themed cake for your Thanksgiving dinner this weekend. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like this cake and you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And thank you to all of you who've subscribed to this channel. I'm so excited. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers. If you have yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on my floating face right over here. And don't forget to watch last week's video right over here. And hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a new video every week. Thank you for watching and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye!